My name is Angela Holiday, and I've been attending Northwest for about 6 years now, ever since I moved down from Michigan. I was really attracted to Northwest because of their love for missions and the refugees, and I work at SMU doing special events for MBA students. So I was tutoring writing at a community college, and I met a nice Korean lady there named Hong Soo. I've always been attracted to people from other cultures and just find it really interesting to get to know them. And Hong Soo her sweet, bubbly personality just really made me want to get to know her better. We had discovered we both had a love for K-dramas, which are Korean dramas that I could tell you all about sometime if you're interested. But it was just fun to find someone else who had that similar interest and who could provide me recommendations. At the end of the semester, I found out that Hong Soo was going to be leaving the community college, and I really wanted to stay in touch, and I really wanted to talk to her about Jesus, but I didn't know what that would look like outside of our working relationship, and if she thought that would be awkward or just how she would respond to an invitation like that. So I prayed about it, and I just decided I would send her an email just wishing her well and letting her know I would love to get together if she was ever interested, but no pressure. She responded right away. She said she'd love to get together, and we met up at a Starbucks. I offered to continue teaching her some English. She wanted to teach me some Korean, and we just had a lot of fun. I asked her all sorts of questions about her background in Korea and Korean culture, and she shared with me all about the different Korean places to visit in Dallas, and it just started a really awesome friendship. Along the way, my main intention was to continue talking to her about Jesus. Her spiritual life wasn't really existent, and so I would always try to look for ways to talk to her about Christ. And I bought us both Korean English Bibles so that we could practice reading and speaking in each other's languages. She recorded John 3:16 in Korean, and I did in English, and then we exchanged copies just so we could continue practicing and hearing each other speak. I invited her to church, and I was surprised when she wanted to come, and then she came back again and just seemed to find a lot of joy in coming, even though she didn't always understand everything that was going on. When her work schedule changed, she couldn't come back to church anymore, but I invited her to Bible study, and she was excited to come there and had lots of questions about Christianity and our faith and all of that. We continued talking, and she even told me once that she invited a coworker who was going through a struggle she said, "You should go to church." And it was just so neat to see someone who would say she's not a Christian who still wanted to promote the church and saw the value in that. I feel like I've really grown a lot, and my perspective has changed through this whole relationship with Hong Soo. I felt like at first I was really focused on trying to win her to Christ and feeling like it was my responsibility to share with her about Christ all the time and all of these things, but it just really blossomed into this beautiful friendship, and I feel like she is one of my best friends, and I pray for her all the time. I've never really felt like I've had a really dear friend of mine who hasn't been a believer, and so it's just been this really neat, sometimes heartbreaking experience just to really be praying for her that God would help her to come to know Him. This vision that someday she will be baptized here at Northwest, I'd love to see that happen, but it's just been such a neat thing to see God working in her life and me not really feeling like I'm doing anything about it, but that just God is drawing her to Himself. Since the pandemic, we haven't really been able to get together in person, but we do a lot of texting, we do some Zoom calls, and we can just kind of work through and talk through some of the discouragements and difficulties we're going with, and I try to share the hope that I have. It's just been such a growing experience for me, and just such a wonderful friendship that God has brought into my life through this. By 2026, we will be having thousands of surprisingly easy to start conversations about Jesus all over our city, because we are convinced where God has us is where Jesus is.